Yeah, I told him about the guy. Oh, I never really finished. Yeah, he came running down that way. He was getting, I mean, and we kept going, hey, coyote, coyote. So Charles, right? He was not looking at us. Yeah, he was. I just said that because I went sending a fine. Yeah. I've been
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We have a special this evening. Well, I just want to let you know that when we have a new person, someone who has not been here, and this is their first time on the mic here, we give them a rousing, note the word rousing, welcome, which means stomping of feet, pounding of tables, clinking of glasses, animal noises, please, some animal noises out there. And then we holler, hoot, and holler, and applaud, and make them embarrassingly welcome, but no throwing of objects, unless it's money at me. All right, so with that all said, we have more than one newbie tonight, but the person who's coming up is... as if I had to look at the name, right? Michael, come on up here. Give him a big round of applause. My mama likes it.
Oh, it's Charles. Charles, by the way. Charles, by the way.
Oh,
it's okay.
Wait a minute. It's Charles. Yeah. Charles! We'll call him Michael Charles.
Man, nice going.
I know, I said the wrong, and it's only one name. It's only one name. It's not like I had to remember anything.
Okay, I'm going to do two things. The first one is something that's been speaking to me for a while, and it's called Smile, and it's just, I don't know, it's really been speaking to me, so I've wanted to do this one for a while. So, on February 15th, a day immediately after another you hate, you told me smiling doesn't get you anywhere in life. I can't explain the way my guts turned, the way my thoughts burned with all the memories, all the times I felt I could be ready to die, and you would look me right into my tear-filled eyes and say, smile, babe, don't cry. And all I can wonder now is what changed that for you. Is it the way that I loved you so roughly, I tore you into pieces, that no longer believed in the beauty of a smile? Was it life and all of its choices, all of its choosing that removed a smile that was like a bruise upon your beautiful face, or did you let your sorrows erase you? Was it your lack of freedom? Was it the fact that people are idiots who find gold mines inside of beautiful people like you and still don't know how to treat them? Have you been sucked dry? Pretending a smile came from inside you every time I've ever seen it, that mile-long walk across the teeth that emerged from the midst of your lips when you felt it. My God, you were my heaven. You used to smile at the ends of your mouth could grow their own hands, reach into the mirrors in your eyes and pull your soul out, like the sun was smiling back at you in the midst of your troubles, telling you the night you'll only endure for a moment, but the light from my lips will return in the morning, I promise. Like the moon, lit your room with a light so perfect, when we kissed you'd swear that heaven had birthed it, like there were angels in attendance that taught love from your appendage and shoved it down my throat, forcing me to swallow it whole, like the glow from your soul became the light in your eyes I was so used to having guide me. Having hide me from my darkness. You used to smile and it would tear me apart, but you are so different now. I don't know who you are, I can't figure you out, but if I retrace the steps in my mind, I can count all the times I've seen you hurt, see all the weight you've been forced to carry, and maybe in that moment, I kneel before you, knees kissing the ground beneath me, and ask you to place your burdens upon my shoulder. And I would carry them for you for this lifetime and 10 lifetimes over. Just so the weight of your burdens wouldn't become the pain in your smile, just so the thought of a smile wouldn't keep weighing you down, just so you would believe that every day of my life I spent 15 seconds taking a glimpse into heaven when you smile. You didn't know the beauty of it all. I've seen the slowing of a heartbeat that has aged with its pain, restart and beat with the rapidity that would make infinity shamed. I've seen scars healed, people brought together, friendships mended, soulmates found, and all of that was just from a smile. So the next time I see it, I'll run into your arms like the wives and children of the soldiers whose souls were thought to be stolen by the lives that they've taken, mistakes that they've made, by the pieces of themselves they had thought they'd lost. And you will show me the way back to myself, and watch me become as new as I always do. And maybe this love will turn into one thing that birthed 1,000 others that give you a reason to smile. It may take a while, but I've never seen anything more beautiful than what I see when you do. I don't believe in anything like I believe in you. So smile for me, even when the world tries to tear us into two. Smile for me because I love when you do. I have one more. This is called Make You Mine. It's really funny how my mind decides to function. If only I can control my feelings as if they're buttons or switches. I turn them off and walk away as if they never existed, let alone were ever hidden. But you were different. It's like Cupid was a spider and I got bitten, and the feeling that I had broke the ceiling and I was smitten. You see, this concept that I'm trying to grasp is how I could catch feelings that would grow so strong so fast. It isn't normal, and I'm tired of being formal, so what I'm about to do is just take you right through this portal. Because before I was trapped from the other side, but now I'll show you what it was like to be inside of my mind. It's just some glasses, it's my lenses that you'll see through, and you'll see why I clean them every time I got to see you. It wasn't clear, I must have had the wrong prescription, because to see someone so beautiful just had to be some fiction. The affection that I have is beyond description, but I'll do my best to try even though I see some encryptions. I'll decode it, this moment is mine, so I'll own it and reveal what I've concealed to explain what I feel is potent. But first I must confess the stress that I've been storing inside me, which likely explains the sadness that has been forming. I'd cry at night if my eyes were clouds, they'd be pouring, but you were my sun, you're all I look forward to every morning. I can't really say what stood out because there were many things, but as the time went by I realized it was really anything. Like the way you'd smile had me goofy like the movie, and truly it made me loony to have this sensation through me. But what I love is your sincerity, it's such a rarity, and I got bruises from falling with such severity. And when you tell me how I didn't understand, how you missed me, I simply kissed you and held you with both my hands. I didn't, but I still wished you, but those are the thoughts I hid through a smile, so all the while I just replied by saying I did too. I could go on and on for days just talking about the ways that you made my heart go insane, but I'm not saying this to be flattering. I've just been battling all these emotions, and it's just been hard trying to control them. It's like I'm in jail and a cell is where my feelings go in, but I can't let go because I'm locked up on what they've been holding. I want to escape from this prison which I feel enclosed in, but I can't end my sentence because it ends with a semicolon. I can't end my sentence because it ends with a semicolon. So that means I have to keep on going, keep on hoping that you understand all that I've been showing. I tried to steal your heart because it was golden, but this jewelry made a fool of me and now I'm broken. Because I told you everything, but you respectfully declined. I know love is war, but I was put in front of the line. I felt like I was Marshawn because this time I wasn't fine, but I guess Marley was right. This is a mountain I couldn't climb. But if I'm honest, this is more than a crush. It's like I'm on a roller coaster, but it's more than a rush. But it ain't shallow because it's more than just lust. Because when I hear your voice, I want to take you and I and transform it to us. That's it.
Thank you. And Ruby! Now it's Charles. You know, the weird thing about that mistake is there's no Michael on here. So it's like, how did that, what? The mind just jumps around. All right, so let me just read the next set so people know who they are and where and what. Roberta Flack, Lauren Bacall. Here. Thank you. So we have Marlon Brando. I always forget him. He likes to be forgotten though. So we have Melissa, then Jason, then Tom, then John, then Ed, then Karen. So Melissa, come on up here, please. A wonderful poet, a person of note and merit. She is brave. She has come back more than once. And you go, my God, why do they do that?
Hi.
Hello.
I'm going to read a poem by a queer, non-binary East Asian poet and performance artist. Their name is Alakabade Manon. And this is a poem called Bring in Brown to Keep Black Down. There was a photo on the fridge back home of me at maybe 8 or 9, wearing a cardigan, a plaid tie, and matching dimples. This is the kind of photo my family has selected for commemoration because it's a type of nostalgia that reminds grown-ups of words like innocence. The type of photo you can mail back home across the ocean, say, look how happy we are here, we made it. This photo was taken during my elementary school's Living History Museum, where students dressed up like some famous person and stood like a statue until parents came and pressed a button. Then we'd come to life and narrate our stories. I chose Martin Luther King. So when families pressed my button, I said something like, long ago this country used to be racist, but Then I came along and made it better. All of them clapped, my family too, and they took this photo and put it on the fridge because they were proud of me for doing a good job, and I believed them. So when Beatrice got suspended for bringing a knife to slice her pear, the same day my math teacher told my parents I might be a genius. So after 9/11, I found myself equally brown and ashamed. The same day my Hindu temple made a shirt that said, "Proud to be American." So when I became the darkest face in all my advanced classes, the same day there was a shooting at the other school. My father taught me how to tie a tie and recite our pledge of assimilation. Long ago, this country used to be racist, but then I came along and made it better. When you rinse brown across a blue ocean, does it get lighter or darker? Your choice. In 1958, my grandfather moved from India to pursue a PhD in English. I wonder what his colleagues wrote in his letters of recommendation. How remarkable it was for a brown man to emerge from a fractured lung, mistaken as country, and breathe English so poetically. Footnote, why can't the black people speak like that too? In 1964, the Civil Rights Act banned discrimination against racial minorities. Footnote, when you throw a piece of paper in a pool of blood, who wins? In 1965, the Immigration Act instituted a system that gave preferential treatment to immigrants with skills. Footnote, bring in brown to keep black down. My grandfather tells me that he always respected Martin Luther King and was sad to hear about his assassination. I've never asked him if he left his library to the streets, because I know the answer the way I know my people, the way we are too busy reading rather than revolting, the way we will develop theories about revolution for someone else's fight, the way that we have been trained to keep quiet, smile back. When the white man said jump, we said, how many grades? Said work harder, so we had to cheat to keep up, stole the words straight from their tongues, said, hello, my name is Martin Luther King, and I have a dream that one day Asian Americans will appropriate the black struggle for our own advancement and blame black people for not working as hard. Almost 50 years later, this model minority holds a scantron like a mirror, recognizes that their body has always been filled in as an answer. And I'm sitting in my gentrified apartment in my gentrified skin, writing poetry with big words that I learned in private school, like white supremacy, which means that I could tell you about how there is a long history of white people painting themselves black. But I'm looking at a photo of myself from when I was 8 or 9 and put on Martin Luther King, use the black struggle to legitimize my difference to my white peers growing up, which feels like its own form of blackface. Press my button, see what happens. Bring in brown to keep black down. When I speak about how my people were colonized by the British, but not mention how they gave some of their ties, titles, and guns, how we used all three against our own, hide all the blood that we made beneath the brown. Bring in brown to keep black down. When I cry about diaspora and missing my homeland, did not mention the countless bodies we stepped on when we got here just to get close enough to kneel for a white man. Dick or degree, is there a difference? Carry both on your tongue. Bring in brown to keep black down. When white people use one hand to give us medals and the other to give them handcuffs, ask them why they can't be as hardworking as us. Bring in brown to keep black down. When we post Facebook statuses about how police brutality affects people of color, while in a block next door a man 2 bullets darker gets arrested by a night 3 shades lighter. What I mean to say is, go back home and look at the fridge. What images have the privilege of nostalgia? In one story, black is forcibly transported across an ocean in a ship as they put a collar around her neck. In another story, brown books the next ship out as they put a tie around his. Long ago, this country used to be racist, but then white people brought us here to make it seem better, and we have done little to make them think otherwise.
Oh, thank you. That's Melissa. All right, and now, Jason. Who the heck is Jason out there? Jason. Oh, he is another new individual. Please give him the welcome he deserves. Jason! Had to do that. right.
Bravo.
Bravo.
Bravo!
Thanks, everyone.
Bellissimo!
Thank you.
Oh yeah, he'll tech you out there.
Thanks for the warm welcome.
Yes.
It's my first time, I guess, writing poetry and reading it. So I have 3 to 4 depending on the time. So this first one is about my previous stop. It's about Tokyo, which is, I came from Tokyo about 3 days ago.
All right. Well, welcome to San Francisco.
Yeah, it's been away from America for about 3 months, so here I am back. From Kyoto to Tokyo, neon burnt lights glow with a sense of modern complexity, capturing the metropolis' gentle serenity. The bustling streets of Tokyo whispers with a mop of ageless caricature that have been absorbed into the fabric of modern Japanese culture. Sipping sake on a humid afternoon, singing karaoke like a giant buffoon, downing whiskey amidst a senseless typhoon. Welcoming nightfall with a customary highball, the metropolis embraces folks of all distinction with its twisting metal tentacles, from salaryman to cram school tutors, to Tokyo godfathers, to men dressed in hidden tattoos. Everyone has a role in this giant collective. From east to the west, the land of the rising sun is a land of living, breathing metropolises. Thank you. So this next poem is about distance. Distance from friends, distance from lovers, distance from things. From one end to the other, Saturn to Jupiter, Pluto to Venus, Mars to Uranus, there lie a pair of star-crossed lovers. A comet destines toward earth-shattering destruction, and a black hole spiraling towards atomic deconstruction, with the weak force holding them static, the strong force pushing them apart. Under the desolate galactic, they are bound for internal darkness. These two were never meant to be. One is an accidental offshoot of a distant frozen planet, a bastard born snow. The other one is a centerpiece of a giant spiraling galaxy, a true-born sun. Once in a million years, the lovers meet in the midst of the rays of 1,000 suns, with the spectrum of the cosmic background, with stars and meteors painting the night, forming the most romantic kind of sight. In that single instance when the lovers meet, space-time continuum creaks open just enough for the two to share a brief moment of solitude in a world of such inane magnitude. And gone just like that is the two's fleeting meeting. For another million years, the lovers will go on their separate ways, speeding across the cold, desolate galactic. Can their star-crossed love last? For what is a million year in a world that lasts billions and billions? All that shall exist will come to pass, even for a comet destined towards earth-shattering destruction, and a black hole spiraling towards atomic deconstruction.
Thank you.
So this one is about kind of graduating college and kind of thinking about my identity, why I went to college, and kind of thinking about my heritage and my homeland. So I was abroad in China backpacking. I haven't gone back for like 5 to 6 years, kind of learning about the culture, but trying to think about why I'm doing things, I guess. So it's titled My Pedigree. I may be getting a college degree, a $2,000 paper degree, mechanical engineer as recommended by MIT. What I'm most proud about is not the degree by MIT or any sort of degree labeling who I am or what I should be. What I'm most proud about is the long history of my pedigree that took generations to reach this degree. People often ask me, where are you from? I often tell them DC. But what they really mean is, where are you really from? I'll tell you where I'm really from. I'm from a generation of rice farmers, illiterate village dwellers who lived through the British opium colonization, the Japanese invasion, the Cultural Revolution, under harsh starvation to become your favorite Chinese restaurant on the corner of Kings and Fifth that serves you America's second favorite Asian obsession, your red-hot, sweet, sexy, steamy, feverish dish of General Chow's chicken. I am from what you might call the General Chow's nation. We, the General Chow's nation, is an extended families of native Chinese speakers, blue-collar workers, vegetable farmers, and iPhone makers. They are the people that attach the rag tags of made in China to your favorite eye electronic that you wish were made in America. A t-shirt will cost you $20 when brought from the grasslands of Montana, but the same t-shirt will only cost you $2 when brought from the smog-filled cities of China. And somehow being Chinese and made in China was worth less than being American and made in Billings, Montana. This is the price of globalization for the people of the General Chow's Nation. To tell you the truth, I'm from a Chinese mother that never graduated middle school, a Chinese father that America would have never considered cool. My father spends his life laboring in the intense heat of the kitchen, with a wok in one hand, a chopstick in another, dishing together America's second favorite Asian obsession, so that I can go to college to pursue my so-called passion, another Western obsession. They may lack a degree, but I'm proud of a pedigree, more so than having a $2,000 paper decree that says Asian Advantage, labeling me as a model minority from a racist vantage. My parents are the Asian antithesis that will shatter the racist image of the model minority and send you backtracking, reeling, tumbling faster, quicker than Asians can crack the bamboo ceiling. My parents are not your model minorities. They would have failed the SATs not once, not twice, but every single time to the Yellow River flooded with such fierce ferocity, washing away every piece of our rich yellow history, bringing us to gates of promised opportunity, making us tired, beat, but yet free. Without any sort of paper degree. To Ellis Island, to the Bay, to the Bronx heels of the Statue of Liberty. To tell you the truth, I am American, and I am from DC, and I may have a college degree, but I'm not your model minority. A term that blankets my heritage based on racial oppression, like the shrouds of smog that saddens my past nation, all for the price of economic domination. The term model minority reduces my degree to a minor necessity, an expected cause effect, a natural law of motion, casting aside my pedigree faster from this nation than the Chinese exclusion. My college degree's decree should not just be mechanical engineer as recommended by MIT. It should be mechanical engineer as recommended by the General Chow's Nation, an American pedigree. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jason New. Thank you. And next is Tom Holmberg, and then we got John, then Ed, then Karen, then Eric, then Garrett, then JJ, who is taking up the clincher, closer, super duper bulldozer position of the evening. Give him a round as he.
Hi there, I'm Tom Holmberg, and I'm happy to be here again with you. And thank you for your inspiration. Love has no patience for logic. I made that up.
I hope that was Lao Tzu.
Yeah. Different proportions. We are all made of the same stuff, said the old salt to sugar as he threw the ball to her. He missed his mark. There was an unexpected curve. He fell on his face. We need each other for balance.
I'm sorry. Sorry, go ahead.
We are a happy people. Now we are. Oh, sure, bad things happen to good people and sometimes to you. But come on. Don't put it on the news. Don't make others feel bad. No, don't. People might get bad feelings. Bad feelings can make you sick. Shit. People can't work. Sick people can't work. So smile. Or I'll beat the shit out of you. Smile. Smile, sweetie. Be happy. progressives. Progress is the courage to stand up and give your neighbor a fair shake. There are so many of us with so many words to encourage love and peace. We overwhelm the world. So busy with survival. It is difficult to listen to us all.
Thank you, Tom Holmberg. All right, now we have John Steer. He's next. He's going to get ready for a moment. And I just want to let you know I'm having a wonderful time. I hope you are. And I used to be schizophrenic, but we had a vote and it was voted down. We are not.
You're not schizophrenic?
Yeah.
Wow, it's a microphone. Yes. It's a microphone. I'm on.
Yeah, you are. Let me just see. You can look at yourself there and frame
that's
yourself with good.
wonderful.
See, like that way.
It's a microphone. Wow, what a wonderful toy. Though I must admit, the first microphone and sound system I ever played with at 4 years old was the best in the world. Grandpa and the uncles and Uncle Eddie had just left the stage. And us kids were right there, man. We were all running up on that stage to get to play with those cool toys and the microphones. Well, when the band came back in a while and took over again, Uncle Eddie would stand up there and say, "Is there any request?" And all through the family would go, "No, no, no, no. Don't ask for a cattle call. Not that one. Don't ask for cattle call." But in a little while, Aunt Judy be standing there yelling, "Cattle call, Uncle Eddie, cattle call." And Uncle Eddie would go, "I just love singing that song." So what's this to a 4 or 5-year-old kid? Everybody's saying, "Don't do that, don't do that." How come Aunt Judy's getting away with it? And is that Uncle Eddie encourage us all to break the rules? Well, I love these open mics. I go to all of them I can. This is one of the most tamest ones, I do admit. There's that one where that guy jumped up and said, "All I want is some weed." Oh, and 4 or 5 people in the audience held up, "Yeah, we got, man, but we want money." And as he went on, his last sentence was, "I want weed, but I ain't got no money." And that girl who was telling us about her relationship with this dude, and he worked in some electronics store about Circuit City or something. And she wanted a TV, and he was going to get her one, but she was in some sort of moral dilemma about the whole thing. But her last sentence was, "Whatever you guys are thinking, I already have a flat screen." But at one of the more rowdy ones, well, this guy comes in and says, "Well, on my way over here, I ran into this dude, and he just had all this LSD." And half the audience was instantly up yelling, "I want some, I want some." And I remember him getting some of the loudest applause that night. So what is this thing, this microphone? Is it the tool we can break all the voodoo and all those things we're not supposed to and get to break all the rules with? Well, this must be a wonderful toy. So I guess it's ooh, cattle are proud goats are howling. We offer the dog his bone. Spurs are jingling, cowboy is singing his cattle call. Ooh, ooh, do, ooh, ooh, do, ooh, 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 do. Yo, lo, lo, le, he rides in the sun till his day's work is done, as he rounds up the cattle each fall, singing ooh, ooh, do, ooh, ooh, do, ooh, ooh, do. Yo, lo, lo, le, he's as brown as a berry, right in the prairie, sings with an old western drawl. Ooh, ooh, do, ooh, ooh, do, ooh, ooh, do. Yo, lo, lo, le, dee, yo, lo, lo, le, dee. Thank you very much.
Thank you. John Sperry. And now Ed Mike Hugh is our next poet of note and strength. Edward Mike Hugh, kindly come forward, please. Take your place at the mic, and I will blabricate until you're there, because that's the
Garrett in the back, too.
Yeah, I got Garrett.
Oh, you got him on there?
Yeah, Garrett's on
Say his
there.
name.
Oh yeah, we got Garrett and JJ. They're after Eric. Where's Eric? Eric?
Eric?
Eric? It says Eric Monroe.
Where's J? Oh, there's JJ.
Yeah, JJ. Oh, okay.
Eric must have disappeared.
Okay, well, I'll call the name when the time comes. I could be mistaken. Welcome, Ed. How are you?
Hi, Ed.
Hi.
Hi, Ed. A little bit longer.
There. Okay, groovy.
Ooh, you said groovy.
My sister Margot always said groovy, and I never said groovy until I was 75. But I'm getting in touch with my family.
Feeling groovy.
Yeah. Dark choices, however, dark choices. Tomorrow's promise. We journey from dark into dark on our own feet, drawn by the first spring odors of narcissus and hyacinth. Shaped by pasts we select to learn from, disoriented by experiences we come to clinging, longing to put our feet by family. It is necessary to accept the dark.
Nice.
This is from a long development and tapestry, and I think I keep writing the same thing over and over. The themes simplify, or our view of them does. But this is called a sea change. A sea change. Fish in a net, old salts, as the wheels keep turning. A spinning plate half dipping into the Pacific Ocean here. You and I are at Land's End on this tilting rake stage where great ships foundered. Their sentences of life and death are unfinished symphonies. A future out there, our audience who sailed in to watch a sea change, diminishing stardust, a gusher, pinkening milky sunrise, sunset in gloaming, thickening light, a sea scar, as roses silt down the sea to sleep. The wheel is round. Life pushes. Photography winds over time, westering, voicing the mind's brown shale, for it will take. It took a lifetime to flower, to fly, to sail, to sail, to sail this sea, this widening light, where I hear voices under the surface of consciousness. Harmony's memory rising up.
Thank you. That's my cue. Will Karen Melander Magoon kindly come forward? And if Eric Monroe is not here, then we'll go from, after her we'll have Garrett. And we got JJ. Well, just so you know. Just so you know, I'm trying my best. Well.
Hi.
Hello, Karen.
I never seem to manage to get here quite early enough to be in the first half, but so I always get to see the real devotees who are still here.
Devotees.
And I get devotees, yes. Thank you. Always. Dan, big applause for our last week's boy. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sleepy sky. The sky woke up a little late today, shaking off her foggy gray blankets. One feather escaped, floating past my window, framed in white fog. Cool veil to an invisible sun, hiding behind her own light. I listen for a bird. Sleepy birds, wrapped in fog, curled back into their eaves and leafy trees, and I think of them dreaming of coffee.
Yeah.
Sleepy day. I heard a racket on a roof at the intersection. Gulls cried to the skies, scattered about on shingles and chimneys. Pigeons rocked on the eaves, digging in their claws. Wind seemed to blow all the birds away, mocking their cacophony as they rose up into the sky and then returned. Okay. I also wrote on the eclipse, and what inspired me was the fact that when in Madras you suddenly have these burning fires, and they said, you know, global warming. Okay. The path of the coming eclipse burns, smoke and fire rise from Madras in Oregon, while people waiting to see total eclipse evacuate their camps. One phenomena of nature, the encounter of the sun and the moon, creating abnormal darkness midday sufficient to make birds seek their nests, crickets play their violin legs, and the forests to be silent, is preempted by smoldering camps, a phenomenon of global warming brought about by human excess, sufficient to drive families from their campfires, to drive them away from their viewing spots for the great solar eclipse. An eclipse we can view and then see the brilliance of the ever-enduring sun return to warm our earth. But magnified 100-fold, who can control this phenomenon of global warming? Who can control the darkness and the fire, the possibly enduring eclipse of humanity and nature caused by human error? Okay, I did Charlotte. I've switched around. I've redrafted my Charlottesville, but I think it's better now than it was, but that's okay. I'll do Gaza. The people of Gaza have 2 hours of electricity a day. Do you understand what that means? Electricity for heat, for light, for hospitals, for computers, for sewage treatment, for refrigeration in the sweltering heat of summer and the cold of winter, for life. A little boy, 5 years old, died yesterday from shigellosis, swimming with his family in the beautiful waters on the beach of the Gaza Strip. Waters that were contaminated for lack of electricity to treat sewage. Waters where a family swam every day. Waters where a little boy swam and became seriously ill with the diabolical diarrhea of shigellosis and died. 2 million people in tiny Gaza, the densest prison in the world, where people cannot move, cannot go in and out, cannot receive materials for building, cannot have the fuel they need, or the water, or food, or electricity. Some say the people of Gaza are an experiment by Israel, a test to see how long they might endure when deprived of everything for life. How long? Aided by the USA, the siege continues and no one takes notice while the people of Gaza die. Lessons. We learn from losing, we learn from forgetting, we learn to wake up into a new world each day, to dance, to love, to forget the forgetting, to absolve the failures, to let the losing drip into a new consciousness of beginning. And I have, thank you. And then I have one, if there's time, I have one on Einstein. Can I do that?
Is it how?
It's all my stuff's all pretty
Yeah,
short.
all right, go ahead.
It's a little longer than the short, but it's still. Questions on Einstein. Einstein asked questions. What would I understand of life if I could ride along a beam of light? What would Earth be like without diversity? And what would my life be like if I were black? The scientist who learned by asking saw segregation in America similar to the evil he faced as a Jew in Nazi Germany. He took walks to talk to the multiracial children in his neighborhood with candy in his pocket, to get to know his neighborhood, the segregated neighborhood of Princeton. When Webb Du Bois was asked to appear in court as a foreign agent for circulating a pro-Soviet leaflet, Einstein told the court he would be a character witness for Du Bois. The charges were dropped. At Lincoln University, alma mater of Langston Hughes and Thurgood Marshall, Einstein spoke of racism as the disease of white people. The mainstream press never mentioned these words of the great Nobel Prize-winning scientist, a pacifist who unwillingly gave us the atomic bomb, but who all his life worked for peace and for the people.
Karen Melandon, we're good, thank you. All right, Garrett Murphy, then we got JJ. Garrett, come on up. Give this man a really good round of applause. Wonderful poet. And I'm assuming Eric isn't here because I called his name and no one said, I'm Eric. Actually, I just said I'm Eric, but I'm not Eric.
Tonight on the Lame Show. Remember not too long ago when Rollins and Franco did the impossible and made entertainment of a plot to assassinate the leader of North Korea, and the populace rushed to the casting call to portray the revolutionaries who founded our nation, bringing ooh and breath the Oz, oh freedom of speech. So now comes Kathy Griffin in the role of Judith with a chump as Holofernes, and the populace rails to another casting call to play Joseph R. McCarthy along with lynch mobs preparing ropes, stakes, and more. A double standard, portraying a double feature tonight on the Lame Show. Shades of Aaron Neville. When Trump sounds off about folks not named for himself and not conforming to his razor-thin standards of pure Americana, he's simply telling it like it is.
Oh, yeah.
When Chris Christie acts like a bully of women and the poor, he is simply telling it like it is. When Rush Limbaugh spews out slurs with impunity, when Fox News flunkies, reality show stars, and law enforcing thugs jeeringly blame the victims of oppression and profiling and soul-murdering criticisms for their own ordeals, they're simply telling it like it is. But when Kaepernick sounds off, people shriek, "What sacrilege? Such nerves, honest him, how dare he?" having the gall to tell it like it is. Safe and sound. Here you sit in your suburban abode, well beyond the security gate, on the quiet side of the sound wall along the thruway, at home watching the news on TV, reveling at the story about the newly erected border fence and the resurrection of old crows. But it's not enough. It never is enough, and they keep on coming. They never stop coming. Soon there will be nowhere left to run, nowhere left to hide. Walled in, cut off, Suffocation is imminent, and they're still coming. It's enough to cause one to commit the capital offense of building a bridge.
Thank you, Garrett. And just in case you don't know, he has a book. He has one of his books, so we can talk to him about that. And now someone who hasn't been here for a long time, he's the clincher, closer, super duper bulldozer, getting the last word. JJ Rush, why don't you come up here and show them and reintroduce yourself, because, you know, we haven't seen you in a while.
Well, I want to tell you that it's a great pleasure to get back with old friends you haven't seen for a long time. I thought that being in the world as long as I have, I should at least produce a book of poetry. I'm sure that you all may feel the same way about your work. And Dan Grady, I want to thank you for showing such graciousness in your introduction.
My pleasure. But you get closer to the mic so they make sure they have
The first piece I'm going to do for you is called The Babbling at Josetta's Creek. The bumblebee's torrid romance with the flowers ended happily with a dust-up. Overnight, the joyful flowers leaped up in thankful applause. Prolific seeds burst throughout the glen, colorfully painting the meadows. A barrage of sunflower burst into bloom, and the rains came down, drenching the field. And down by Josetta's Creek, a flotilla of seedlings raced in the spring and silently ran the gauntlet in the shadow. What a music this was! In night's dark bosom, where nature played quietly, its soothing harmonica hauntingly. Standing on stage, a man of the book harshly delivered a fire and brimstone speech. All fired up and enraged, engaged he was. While down at Josetta's Creek, the water babbled its own story. Young lovers heard only the beats from the Angels, the Jacksons, and the Summers. Oh, what music this was in night's flower paradise. And in the forest, every flower received potions of the blues and doo-wah offerings befitting Mother Nature's beloved offspring. Every litter shared the bloom and grew an inch under another crowing moon. An ambitious rabbit about his business stood stock still, hearing Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. A moose at his horniest in the rough with his honey, conceiving a ballad, aced the sound, spiking the mooing period. What grand music this was that reached the ear of the mighty lion, while proudly making his pride heard an exquisite opera and sensationally roared his approval. A visiting elk noisily bellowed into creation. A little alky, so hyped up with inspiration he was, then did a repeat, seconding the motion. This enthralling music playing at Josetta's Creek went on, everyone clamoring for an encore, everyone desiring to sing their song, nature's song, as if it were their own. Thank you.
Is that your book?
I have a few books for sale. This is a late edition, okay? Now this final piece is going to be called The Queen of Thunder, okay? His temperature having peaked, he looked out the window waiting his date coming back bus. He could drink a soda pop or run to the store for something else to put in the stew. Then his man jumped up and down thinking about what she might be wearing. Maybe something kinky that would make his eyes pop out excitedly. This reminded him of his first Thunder Queen extravaganza and how preposterously dazzling the mademoiselle was, who would go on to be his paragon of fashion forever. That train of thought catapulted to mind another lady, Travis Steen, who left him gamma-rayed as well. Dolled up in lavender negligee with ribbon-tied frills, and oh, how they danced the night away. Sent him sizzling attentively in afterthought. The auditioning peacocks that followed left no break in the thunder-making business and the fallout. Famous for blowtorch performers happy to share the stage, the pluck and the raves. Looking out the window again, the scent of a rose bordering his nose indicated the tsunami in a skirt fast approaching. This was not an anticlimactic event. The stew was a new recipe with a pushcart of Valentine's added. At this point, the pot was boiling over and everything was in place worthy of an empress on the cusp of her calling. The final act being about to start. Wah-wahs filling the suitor's head reverberated throughout the room. Like clockwork, the doorbell rang. Promptly, the host answered the door with astute congeniality. Blowing her whistle, the queen of flash walked into the studio, a wide grin on her face. Moving into a stroll, a plant magically fell over. Doing a swivel, she leaned in, planting a wet kiss on the suitor's lips. Making a dark Marlene Dietrich move, her gloves came off. Marvin Gaye, crooning sexual healing, led to a striptease. Touching and howling came next, followed by the suitor's Broadway edited script, at which time the diva would regally slide into and nail the role. Thunder Queens are known for and loved for the world over. Thank you.
AJ Rush. Good work. Good work. All right, so thank you. We have a final act. As you know, when you came in, you signed your name next to a number. These cards, you'll notice, have numbers next to them. Can you shuffle these a little tiny bit? And what he's going to do is shuffle them. I'm going to draw them. And what I'm going to do next